Well, bowling fans, we're back. Motion Plus Lanes is the site. Always an exciting tournament here, Joey, with the action, heating, cooling, and plumbing shootout. Format doesn't change. First match, wild card, 3 bowlers come in. They bowl a 4-frame match. High bowler out of that advances to the championship. And then they join the other 3 bowlers waiting in the wings. All 4 bowlers, 1 game for 1st through 4th place. Never seems to be a dull moment during those final matches.
Oh, no. And we got a nice mix today again. We got some house players. We got some outsiders coming in. 1 lone lefty. We'll see what happens.
The excitement's going to begin with our wild card match here from Motion Plus Lanes. Join us for that after this short break. Kerry Catania kicking things off here as always, proprietor here at Motion Plus Lanes. Wildcard match for the 2015 Action Heating Shootout. 4 frames of competition, a 7th through 10th frame. You see who advances to our shootout final. And the first time on TV here for Patrick Del Fiacco out of Illinois. Stu Williams just in the follow-through there, Joey. Very short, up to the shoulder high.
That is exactly who I was thinking of with the abbreviated follow-through. And according to Mo Pinnell, that's not necessarily a bad thing because, according to Mo, the pins are not on the ceiling. They are directly in front of you. Well, he followed through well on that shot.
Yeah, killed the ball a little bit, did not have it hook into the 4-pin. A little wave to the crowd by Patrick to get this wild card started. We've already got 3 bowlers in that championship match. Kyle Gertson, Andy Sukup, and Scott Stoltz are 3 players waiting in the wings for the winner of this wild card. And here's a gentleman who's taking a few dollars to me at Riviera Lanes this year, Dean Filtz, on Thursday nights.
Teammate of
Nick Rosenditch.
Nick Rosenditch, that's it. Slipped my mind for a split second.
Chris Hafes as well on that team on Thursday nights in the same league I bowl at Riviera, so it was nice seeing a lot of guys from that league come out.
Kind of a young power player team.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They can definitely get in deep and power it up, as you see there, as Dean Filtz does that to get his strike on the board. And Bob Nowacek stepping up now.
45 years of age. He would be the wily veteran of this match since his opponents are both 26 years of age.
Gets that ball to read the pattern, kicks the 10-pin out nicely. Once again, the 42-foot action tournament pattern here at Motion Plus Lanes, a pattern unique to all of our action heating, cooling, and plumbing events here at Motion Plus. And even though the pattern's always the same, we see a lot of different bowlers making the finals year after year. And this is a new face here with Patrick Del Fiacco.
Good shot from Patrick, just a little firm on the speed, doesn't get the pin action he's looking for.
Yeah, it's amazing leaving 3 pins on the pin deck like that. Everything's spinning around that nothing took out the 7-pin for Patrick.
Right, and you know, the patterns on our shows may start out the same, but through transition and different players playing different zones on the lane, they obviously can break down differently. Good spare conversion by Patrick.
Yeah, and the fresh application of that action heating pattern on the lanes before we got started today.
4s and 7-pins are no gimme on this type pattern. A lot of volume in the center of the lane, and if you miss a board or so right of target, sometimes we'll miss the pin by about 3 boards.
Dean Filtz looking to put an early double up on the board. That deliberate first step to get into his approach. Gets that ball to tickle the 7 out.
Yeah, as we saw, just as light as Patrick's shot on that right lane, but a touch softer ball speed, got the pin action.
Watch the replay of that. Watch the head pin go to the sideboard and just slam that 4-pin out into the right side of the pin deck. With this short format with the wild card match, only 4 frames. One errant shot can really cause you problems with advancing, so Bob taking a little extra time here. Make sure he gets a good shot off the hand.
You could describe this as a sprint.
It is a
shortened format.
It is a sprint, and we'll be back to the last 2 frames of this wild card match sprint for Motion Plus Lanes in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you stay tuned. Wild card match through the 2015 Action Heating Shootout rolls on. Patrick Delfiaco stepping up, needs to find some strikes here, Joey, in a hurry. He's already down 11 pins to the other two bowlers. And he's made a couple of good shots as well out there. Looks like another good one out of his hand, and now the ring 10.
Yeah, and again, he's had an 8-12 series, and he puts on his bio sheet, thanks China. And by China, he means they were easy.
Yeah, house-type patterns. This pattern a little tougher than a house pattern.
Right. I mean, the China description is basically the wall in the center, the heavy oil concentration. And today's patterns are pretty much like that. You're guaranteed to hit the pocket. You are not guaranteed to knock 10 down.
Yeah, most of the rounds today took anywhere from a 215 to 220 average per round of competition to advance. Competition all day using an eliminator format where we dropped half the field after each game prior to our semifinal match for the TV taping to see who made the championship match and who got assigned to the wild card here as Dean Filtz steps up looking for 3 in a row and gets just enough on that 7 pin to get it out.
Almost a carbon copy of his previous frame. And Dean, an author of an 813 series.
Couple 4 300s under his belt, 4 300s under his belt.
300s at a young age of 26.
Yeah, his favorite bowler, that's surprising. Walter Ray Williams Jr. is Dean Filtz's favorite bowler. So usually, old school player like that, usually the younger kids go towards more as the Belmontes and the Sean Rashes. Bob Nowacek looking to stay even with Filtz, and he does with his turkey on the board.
It's a can opener type strike, one of those half pocket, but 5 pin, nowhere to be seen. So all the players lined up for sure. Now it's the nitty gritty time in the 9th and 10th frames.
Yeah, Delfiaco pretty much needs opens out of his opponents to advance, and he would need to strike out, and that's not going to happen with another ring 10 pin.
Yeah, it looked as though he moved right, got the ball to read the pattern a little sooner. That's kind of a bad break. Pin just missed it.
Yeah, he's going to be taking home $100 for his efforts today out on the lanes.
Patrick's favorite PBA bowler, past or present, Ron Nelson, a very good amateur.
Yes, indeed.
I believe he's an amateur.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever had a PBA card, but he's won a lot of money in a lot of tournaments in the Midwest over the years.
Yeah, he could give a number of PBA players a run for their money.
And now with the changes to the rules for the USBC National Tournament, he could be one of those players that could get a PBA card and bowl with his team and still have a chance to take some more money off the PBA regional circuit.
Are they allowing 2 members per team?
It's still 2 members per team, but it's a little different for title winners. If bowlers have won a PBA national title or a ladies national title and they're under the age of 60, they can only have one of those bowlers per team, even if they no longer have a pro card. So I know for teams like Jeff Riggle's 11thframe.com team, because they have Mike Shady and Mark McDowell on their team, after 2016, that team will no longer be able to bowl together until either McDowell or Shady reaches the age of 60.
Yeah, and that's a shame because we know once you're past 50, 60, you don't have the skills of a 20 or 30-year-old player. But they do have time to amend those rules before they take effect.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that they're going to get changed, as Dean Filtz can't get the 10 pin out, and that's going to leave a little glimmer of hope for Bob Nowacek.
Could be a costly tap there.
Well, basically, Bob gets the first 2 in the 10th. He'll advance to the championship match against Gertson, Stoltz, and Andy Sukup. Filtz gets that spare for 109 game for I guess the bowling frame format you can kind of say we're using here, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th frames. For those of you old enough to remember the bowling game back in the 80s and 90s.
So Bob would need the first 2?
First 2, if he goes strike 9 spare to tie Dean Filtz, they would have a single ball roll-off until the tie is broken. So we'll see what Bob does here to... Well, it looks like he may have made a slight bump to the left. He came up a little high flush last time on this right lane. This right lane seems to hook a little bit more than the left lane. Wheels it and just gets that 4 pin out.
Yeah, 2 pin, got the 4 pin from behind, kicked it forward slightly.
And now it leaves a strike for Bob Nowacek to advance. 9 spares a tie, 8 on this next ball or less, and that'll let Dean Filtz get into the championship match here.
It appears to me as though we see that right lane going just a touch longer. So the players obviously will either put a little more hand into it, soften the speed up, or just play a little bit further right with their feet.
Well, that's the high hard one there. I don't think that's where Bob wanted to throw it, but he got it the whole pocket and get all 10 down. He's getting a little grief from the crowd right now about that shot, and he kind of knows he really got away with that to advance.
Well, we're going to get some good breaks and some bad breaks, and that is a good break for Bob. So now he just needs to stay behind the foul line.
Yeah, any shot down the lane will get him into championship shootout match. Remember, it's one game, all 4 bowlers bowling at the same time for the $500 first place prize here at the Action Heating Cooling Shootout. Bob gets 9 down on that last ball for 119, and Joe Serrano will be back from Motion Plus Lanes for the Action Heating Shootout Championship match in just a couple of minutes. Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. It's not a match here at Motion Plus Lanes unless Kerry Catan, the proprietor here, is starting things out as he always does, firing up the crowd. Big crowd hanging around for the finals today as Bob Nowacek almost takes Kerry Catania out with a badly misplaced high five.
Yeah, but with all those happy pills Kerry takes daily, he could have slammed him in the face and he'd still be smiling.
Kerry and his wife Jean do a great job here, not just for our Action Heating and Cooling tournaments here at Motion Plus Lanes, but everything going on. Don't forget, even though their Toys for Tots weekend on December 5th and 6th is already passed, you can donate Toys for Tots at Motion Plus Lanes or at any Toys R Us store through December 18th. So this is the time of year to keep those less fortunate in mind. And Bowler's been fortunate today to make the TV show. Scott Stoltz, a little quick out of his hand, and pays the penalty for it there, Joe.
Yeah, not the way you want to start your match with a potential open, but he needs to slide that 2-pin to the right, knock out the 10.
That's a man that's made a lot of changes in his game over the last few years. Used to finish sliding on his right foot, even though he's right-handed. He's made that change, made some changes to his other parts of his physical game. He lost quite a bit of weight over the years as well.
He lost quite a bit of weight. Now he slides on the correct foot, which would be the left foot.
Hey, that's got a chance. How about that?
And a great spare by Scotty Too Hottie Stoltz.
The crowd goes wild. You see the high fives from the crowd back there for a great shot. Even Bob Nowacek showed a little sportsmanship there with a high five to Scott.
In a one-game match, all these bowlers are friends, but in a one-game match, every frame very critical.
Yeah, and it's first through fourth place here. Fourth place, $175 championship match here for take home this top prize of $500. $325 difference between first and fourth. So you want to get out to a lead early, and unfortunately for Kyle Gertzen, a bad break and a great shot.
All right, but if anybody's going to make this, it could be Kyle. He can definitely get it down there in a hurry. And he's laughing about it. It is opening frame.
Well, it's a $100 bonus from EBC Productions to convert the 710 on TV. Looking to get one. It's been years, and unfortunately, you got to hit a pin to make the 710.
Right. Well, unless the ball bounces out of the back and then hits a pin.
I still think that's illegal according to USBC rule.
Once
the ball leaves the lane surface, whether it's by gutter or by the end of the lane, it no longer counts as regulation pinfall.
So wishful thinking on my part.
Our winner of the wild card match, Bob Nowacek, in the third slot here. The 4 bowlers bowling this game. That needs to get up to the pocket, and that's not the break he was looking for on a 2-8-10. You'd want to get the 8 out, not the 2.
Yeah, it almost looked as though Bob might have bumped a little further left. Got it a little right, but didn't get his best release on it. Came back just a little lazy. We see some deflection.
Well, as the bowlers got practice between the wild card match and the championship match, the 3 bowlers that were waiting in the wings got 10 minutes of practice, and Nowacek only received 1 shadow ball in each lane after that practice was done for our other 3 players. So shows how much they can change the lanes in 10 minutes, even with only 2 right-handers on this pair, as we have our lone lefty on the show. Man, it's been a few years since we've seen Andy Suk up on our telecast. Back in our Youth Challenge series days.
He's got a strong left-handed game, as we'll soon see. Great tempo to the line. Stays down with the shot. Can't throw it much better, can you?
No, you can't. And we saw Andy take home a lot of hammer bowling balls back in the day with our Hammer U Challenge series. Attended college in UW-Madison, had a great collegiate career there, back home in Illinois, and still has his allegiances, as you can see, the Wisconsin Badgers, as he's got his red and white Badger logoed shirt on today.
Once a Badger fan, always a Badger fan.
Oh, once an alumni, always an alumni.
Once an alumni.
Scott Stoltz looking to correct the errant shot of frame number 1. Had that great cover, though, on the 210. A little quick out of his hand and left. And a good break there to just leave the 3-6.
Yeah, he knows. He's shaking his head a little bit. Kind of came up and out of that one. Got to stay down at the line.
It's a little nerves for him out here on the show. We've seen him in team competition and doubles competition in the past, but this is the first time we've seen Scott under the lights on the action heating shootout singles format. And he really wants to have the showing of the year here today with all the work he's put into his game.
Well, that's it. He's worked on ball speed. He's always at a high rev rate and increasing his ball swing a little bit to create more momentum.
BPSMilwaukee.com. Check out those holiday shopping specials. If you need to get something for the bowler in your life, if you don't know what they might exactly need, those BPS gift certificates always come in handy, Joey.
Yes, and they never expire.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see if Kyle makes an adjustment off his opening 7-10 in the pocket.
5 to the line, real close to the foul line, but not over, and just gets the Steve Grabowski shot.
Yeah, unusual to see a 5-pin standing when Kyle throws the ball, but he moved left and he kind of circled it a little bit.
Yeah, watch the head pin slide around, and the 5 kind of gets frozen a little bit by the 2-pin and the ball hitting it at the same time.
And he'll take that one.
Little fist pump on the way back.
See if Bob can get back on track here.
So he's staying with that direct line he struck in the 10th frame of that wild card match with, but this time can't get the 10 to go.
Yeah, and then players will do that. They'll cheat their feet a little further left and stay in the pattern to avoid coming high when they see too much friction, but it almost appears as though the players need to see a little more friction.
Yeah, in order to get that 10 pin out, that's usually the big bugaboo here at Motion Plus Lanes with this action heating pattern, and a big open right there by Nowacek.
Yeah, Bob is digging an early hole, but there's still plenty of room in a full game match. But with his opponents being as skilled as they are, he better not wait too much longer.
Yeah, with the caliber of bowlers in this field, having a 215 to 220 average to get out of each round of competition may sound a little easy, but the talent's there, and it is a little bit of a tougher pattern than what you're going to see on a house shot, especially trying to dig the corner pins out. And as we mentioned a little bit earlier, trying to dig the 7s and the 10s out, whether you're right or left-handed, is the toughest thing to do here at Motion Plus Lanes.
Right, but you would still think it's going to take at least a 220, 230 game to advance, just because we have 4 quality players here. Tries to dance it out of there and
The fancy footwork.
doesn't quite get it done, right.
One Andy Sukup.
I remember those days. You remember those days, Phil?
Oh, I remember. I think I saw Carmen Salvino at the Tournament of Champions in Indianapolis last year, and Carmen's in his 80s and he's still got great footwork. Looking to get the spare cover, getting into the commercial break for this part of the game. Andy Sukup with the cover. We'll be back with the rest of our championship match here at the 2015 Action Heating Shootout after this short break. Barbier's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Two frames in the books at Motion Plus Lanes, championship match of the 2015 Action Heating Shootout. Andy Sukup out to an early lead, but Scott Stoltz can get another mark on the board and keep it close.
Scotty using one of his favorite balls, the Roto Grip Uproar, but a rather tame pearlized cover. May have to make a ball change eventually.
Yeah, 210 light and now bucket light.
Right, and he threw that the way he wanted to, but he's not seeing the shape he wants to see. Scotty has had 3,300 games and a high series of 837. In fact, I believe he's had 800s off the right foot and left foot.
I believe last year he had 800 here at Motion Plus Lanes. His first 800 as finishing on the left foot.
But he has yet to shoot 300 sliding off the correct foot, if there is such a thing as the correct foot.
Well, bowling is not any particular one style to make things work. We've seen different styles over the year. Especially, now you got two-handers like Jason Belmonte and Asku Palermo, and you still see players occasionally finish on the wrong foot. There's a young man at the USBC Masters in Green Bay last year. His name unfortunately slips me at this point in time, but he also finished on the wrong foot, but made it to the top 16 at the USBC Masters. So you have to have some game.
Yeah, Kyle has shredded that rack, and I think he's kind of figured out what to do on these lanes. Matter of speed and the proper axis rotation.
A little high five from his dad, Jerry, there. Good old Gertzen Home Improvements, Jerry Gertzen and Kyle Gertzen. I wonder if he's ever going to change it to Gertzen and Son Home Improvements. I've got to talk to Jerry about that once the show's done today.
Or like a law firm, Gertzen, and Gertzen, maybe.
Nowacek looking to bounce back off a 10-pin miss last frame.
And that was a good shot off his hand, and that 5-pin fell short of the 7. So Bob not feeling as comfortable as he did in his opening match when all he did was strike. He had the first 5 and then left the blower 7-pin, I believe, on his fill shot.
Yeah, now looking to get his first mark on the board this game, and it's a long road back from the hole he finds himself in early.
We should mention Bob, high series of 847 and 13,300 games.
The slow roller at the 7-pin to get it down.
Well, that's not a bad way to make those 4s and 7s when you're on a condition where there's a lot of volume in the middle. Just kind of let the lane bring it in, slow hook it in.
Well, Andy Sukup looking to get his second strike of the afternoon on the board. Good shot last frame, left a blower 10-pin. See what he can do here to get himself a strike on the board again, and just crumbles the bucket out.
The bucket crumbler.
Every bowler's friend.
Well, yeah, not just because you strike, but because you don't have to shoot at the bucket, which is always a plus. Too many ways to chop it.
Keeps Andy Sukup close in this match, actually still in the lead over his competitors. Scott Stoltz gets away with one a little bit. He kind of popped up at the line there, Joey, and trips out the 4-9.
Well, and I was just going to mention his favorite PBA player is Pete Weber, and he kind of had a Pete Weber type strike. Because Pete tends to trip out a bunch of those 4-9s.
Oh, yeah.
As you see when you're doing your extra frame broadcast.
Absolutely, and yeah, when you're done watching the Action Heating Shootout, if you're not already an Extra Frame subscriber, get on board. World Series of Bowling coverage going on right now from Reno. So make sure that you try that 1-month pass for $7.99. Watch the best in the world. Try to win that PBA World Championship. And Messenger's always a bowler's friend.
Now, that's not fair to the rest of us that don't get those type of strikes. I mean, he hit light pocket. We'd leave the soft 10. Kyle, on the other hand,
that was actually the 4-pin.
Well, it was, yeah, it didn't look like the head pin, but how do you get a Messenger 4-pin taking out the 10?
The head pin hit it hard enough and sent it flying across the pin deck, and shows you what high revs and good ball speed can do for a player.
See if Bob can got down that strike train. That's a pretty good shot. Knee deep in the pocket.
Still finds himself in 4th place right now, down by 39 pins to Kyle Gertzen. Andy Sukup can get back into the lead here if he can strike to finish out the 4th frame for these 4 players.
Yeah, I believe Andy came a little half pocket on this lane with a 10-pin last time up. See if he makes the proper adjustment.
5 steps to the line for Sukup. The hand nicely. Oh, that was a little late on the 9-pin there, Joey.
Yeah, he fell a little bit off the shot, but still a good release through the release zone. Just enough to get that 7 and 9 out of the way.
Yes, indeed. And coming into the High 5 Gear 5th frame, I want to thank High 5 Gear once again for their sponsorship this season. If any bowler in singles competition strikes on TV, they receive a $25 high five gear gift certificate. So all 4 of these bowlers looking to get a new jersey possibly on their shoulders after this frame, and there's $25 in high five gear cash to Scott Stoltz.
Yeah, Scott will take an entire game of those. That was as pretty as a picture.
And he keeps himself within a mark of Andy Sukup and Kyle Gertzen. Close match between those top 3 bowlers.
The game does seem easy when you do it right, doesn't it? And downright difficult when you're doing it wrong.
You get those 2 or 3 shots a night that just feel like you could go out and compete on the PBA Tour, and then you get the 7 or 8 shots a night where you feel like you could even keep up with your young cousin or nephew on bumpers. And Kyle Gertzen, $25 in high five gear money to him as well.
Another rack ripper for Kyle, and he's kind of pulling away a little bit. He's got the little young 4-bagger working.
Sukup, closest competition right now. If Sukup can strike in the 5th, he'll retake the lead by a couple of pins over Gertzen. Nowacek looking for a double here to try to get out of 4th place.
And he knows he needs this double after starting with open in the first 2 frames as he gets it done.
Another $25 in high five gear cash to Bob Nowacek. We could get the sweep here, the $100 sweep, Joey, for high five gear
That would
cash.
be nice to see.
Well, I thank Todd Molbeck and all of his staff at High Five Gear once again for their sponsorship of our TV events on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel this season. If you're looking to get some custom jerseys made, fit your bowling style, fit the way you feel on the lanes, just go to highfivegear.com and you can design your own jersey online. A great shot by Andy Sukup to get us into the commercial break. $100 in high five gear cash gone. We'll be back with the last half of this championship match for Motion Plus Lanes in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you stay tuned. Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Halfway through our championship match here at Motion Plus Lanes, the 2015 Action Heating Shootout rolls on. Lots of strikes on the board here, Joey. Andy Sukup in the lead, but only a couple pins up on Kyle Gertzen. Scott Stoltz close behind in 3rd, looking to get the string out a little farther.
Yeah, Kyle, one of Scott's closer friends, as well as Brad Tollefson, Samantha Shannon, and good friend lefty Eric Fritton. In fact, there's a little grease spot here right next to where Eric Fritton's name is, and I think he may have to clean that up a little bit.
Subtle clue there for, I don't know. We'll have to check that out, but right now he could have used a little grease down lane to slide that 7-pin off the end of the pin deck.
It's kind of an inside joke with the grease boys here.
But that's going to put Scott Stoltz down the standing at the rate these bowlers have been striking the last couple of frames. No problem covering up that 7-pin. Kyle Gertzen looking to take the lead back here from Andy Sukup if he can get his string out to 5 in a row. The only blemish on his record, that pocket 7-10 in the opening frame for Gertzen.
Kyle wipes off the ball before every shot, and when you're bowling it rapidly as they are, since there's not 10 bowlers on the pair, wiping between shots can be helpful. Get that oil residue off the track area. Allow that ball to flare onto a clean ball surface.
That's just not fair.
Yeah, that's another one that you and I would not have carried.
That is,
Kyle just kind of looks at it as an everyday kind of strike.
That is just not fair. You can hear the oohs and ahs in the crowd here at Motion Plus Lanes. Watch that head pin. 2 skips and a jump and takes out the 10. And we're just sitting here in the booth shaking our heads, Joey. Just can't believe it even on the replay.
Well, you know, that's a combination of good genes. Thank you, Dad Jerry. 23 years of age and great coaching from little on.
Yeah, no doubt. In a couple of years he spent at Vincennes University in his college career with Gary Sparks, a great coach down there. really smoothed out Kyle's game.
Well, when I saw Kyle throw a ball when he shortly after he got back from Vincennes, he looked polished.
Yes.
And prior to going there, not as much polish.
Yeah, I remember when he used to bowl in our Youth Challenge Series events, sometimes it looked like Kyle was looking straight down at the foul line and trying to pull up on the ball so hard. Now, all the power he has, even more than when he was a younger player, much smoother. And how about that for a bad break?
Yeah, that was a great shot off the hand, deep in the pocket, no deflection.
Our good friends the Drapers down at Town and Country Lanes have their All-Star Bowling qualifying going right now through January, the beginning of January. And new this year, we'll have the championship match of the women's division, senior division, and men's division on TV for you in January here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. So All-Star Bowling making the moving over to Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. I want to thank the Drapers for coming on board with us here at EBC Productions and Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Go down there, bowl that great event. Big prize fund as always, and usually it's a $1,500 first place prize down there for All-Star Bowling for Town and Country Lanes in the men's division. $500 for the seniors, $500 for the women. $500 on top here today at the Action Heating and Cooling Shootout. Scott Stoltz looking to get a piece of that first place money.
Extra cash comes in handy at holiday time of the year. That was a great shot from Scotty.
Scrambles up the deck, keeps himself within 22 pins of Kyle Gertzen. Just amazing with how bowling rewards the strike strings as time goes on.
Well, and that's it. That lower 7 Scott left, that cost him 21 pins, and it'd be a 1-pin match.
So all the new scoring systems that they're trying to devise to make bowling easier to follow, they say, for new people, that type of thing, it takes away the reward of stringing strikes together, and you should be rewarded for that as time goes on.
Well, you know, it's not that easy to, and there's another 9 count that Kyle strikes with, and I mean that's 3, and I won't call them marginal shots because they're great shots off the hand, but not everybody carries those.
No, 2-pin comes off the sideboard, spins around, takes the 9-pin out. He knows he's up a little high, and once again you see that little fist pump on the way back going. I got another one in the scorecard. Bob Nowacek still in 4th place here, but he's working on some strikes.
He's got a run going, and good shot off the hand, and a good shot through the pins.
He's going to take a mistake from one of his opponents to crawl back up out of 4th place, but he's showing he didn't just roll over after a couple of errant shots early.
Well, but Bob knows he's going to need to go sheet, meaning he'll need strikes in the 8th, 9th, and 10th to have a shot.
Yeah, especially with 175 being 4th place money, 250 for 3rd, 375 for 2nd, and that big $500 payday.
Indiana's good lane. He struck every shot in this lane so far. And he finally ends that streak with a soft 7-pin.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with it out of his hand. Knew that he got a little bit quick with it. Didn't let that ball roll properly, and watch the deflection on that shot, almost through the 8.5-pin spot.
Right, and most good bowlers know when their release has been clean at the bottom, and they know they're going to strike on a good release, and they know when they're going to see a likely tap.
Moves over to the right side of the approach, switches to a polyester bowling ball. Nice and easy off the hand, no problem. Dead eyes that 7-pin down. I want to thank Joe and Deanna Peckus again for all their assistance sponsoring the Action Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing television shows here at Motion Plus again for the 8th consecutive season. If you have any furnace needs this winter, give them a call at Action Heating and Cooling, or you can check them out on the website. We got Scott moved over to the correct lane now. He wanted to stay on that left lane. Apparently he likes that one a little bit more. That's a little different pace for these bowlers than what they're used to.
Well, if he catches this one, that's another double that keeps him as an outside chance of getting this match, and a great shot off the hand.
And you can see when Scott stays down with that shot, is able to get the hand slightly around the side of the ball, the difference in power that's generated from when he kind of loses it off the hand early when he doesn't stay behind it enough, and gets all 10 pins into the pit.
Kyle, what is he on, a 6-bagger?
Kyle's on a 6-bagger, looking for 7 in a row here in the 8th frame. And boy, he gets this one. It's going to be tough for any of his opponents to catch up. it would take a mistake by Kyle to open the door for anyone, and another 10 back for Kyle Gertzen.
Yeah, and that one dead flush behind the 5-pin, showing his versatility.
Tell you what, he's going to be tough to stop. He's his own enemy right now to not take home this Action Heating Shootout Championship. Bob Nowacek looking to get another strike on the board. Try to get out of 4th position. Get a few more bucks in the pocket for holiday shopping. Or to donate for Toys for Tots. Always nice to give a few bucks back for a good cause. And that was just left out of the hand, and that's a pretty tough one to pick up.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many creep high today. Most of the non-strikes we've witnessed today have been light pocket. Bob may have given that just a little extra at the bottom, and leaves a Pete Weber type split with the, is that the 3-4?
3-4, 6-10.
So he needs to slide that 3-pin over, hitting it right of center, not that way, Bob.
Almost chopped the 3 off the right side of the rack there. Yeah, that's going to unfortunately probably secure 4th place for Bob Nowacek today. Spare Time Bowling radio show Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Be sure to catch that. All the latest information on what's going on the PBA Tour with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer and our good friend Dwight Albrecht from Spare Time Pro Shop out at New Berlin Bowl. Of course, myself, whenever I get a chance to be in the studio, join the Spare Time crew as well. And a little different 7-pin for Andy Sukup there as compared to that one.
Yeah, that was a great shot off his hand, and sometimes it's just not your day.
Well, you try to stay close to Kyle Gertzen. He did for quite a while, but now back-to-back 7-pins is going to move Andy Sukup over 20 pins behind with 2 frames to go after the spare conversion, assuming that Andy makes the spare again.
So he still could finish in first if Kyle opens in the 9th and 10th.
Yeah, or if Andy can catch a strike or two and only one opener from Kyle, that could help too. But we've got our last commercial break of the day coming up right now. Join Joe Serrar and I back from Motion Plus Lanes for the rest of this championship match. Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. Two frames remaining here in the championship match, the 2015 Action Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing Shootout in Motion Plus Lanes in Cudahy. Kyle Gertzen, a big lead, over 30 pins on Andy Sukup and Scott Stoltz as Stoltz steps up here in the 9th frame, but 30 pins can go away in 2 frames, Joe.
Well, Scotty's on a double. If he can catch a strike in the 9th and ride the 10th, he can shoot a 240 game. Oh, but that ended pretty quickly. They're just a little firm with the ball speed.
Yeah, and now that's going to knock him down to 220 max. And boy, Gertzen right now, Gertzen's at 2-0 in the 8th frame, even with just a good count. So, going to be tough for Scott to get past Gertzen. Want to stay ahead of Sukup for 2nd place. 2nd place money $375, 3rd place $250.
Gimme spare here either. Goes cross lane, avoids the chop, but he stays clean. It's clean for 9 frames.
And now the man that needs to just throw a couple of marks on the board to walk out of here, 2015 Action Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing Shootout champion, Kyle Gertzen. Wonder if Dad Jerry and Mom Sue got plans for whatever Kyle wins here for Christmas, extra Christmas presents for the family.
Oh, I'm sure he's been thinking about that the entire match. Okay, on a 7-bagger, going for 8. And ring 10, 6-pin right over the top of that 10-pin.
And boy, most bowlers wouldn't be smiling about that on the way back, but he's a little comfortable right now. He knows he's got a big lead. Talking to the other players back there. And he knows if he just knocks this one down, it's a pretty easy 10th frame for him.
Stays nice and firm, accelerates through the release. We hear that gravity-fed swing is bowling, but a lot of top players, they kind of pull it down from the top, but they do it with a soft hand, and that's the tricky part, not to get grippy.
Oh, no doubt, because as soon as you start to... You watch the modern PBA players, as soon as they get grippy and you see the hand go to the outside of the bowling ball, they know it's going to be a terrible shot for them.
Right, but ideally you want as loose and free a swing as possible. Bob uses a gravity-fed swing. Definitely doesn't get muscly with it. Nice and loose.
Another pull for Bob and another bad break to not take the split off the table.
Yeah, and he's just...
I think he's running out of gas here.
Well, it could be. And he bowled well for the whole tournament.
Yeah, he was our qualifying leader today. Averaged almost 250 for his opening 4 games of qualifying. But when you get a couple of byes, you got to sit for a little bit, and you got to wait for your turn to bowl in this eliminator format. Sometimes you can get a little more tired than just as you keep going, pacing your way through the entire day.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to keep on bowling. I mean, Bob's still a young 45 years old, but again, he's not 23 like Kyle.
Andy Sukup stepping up here. Oh, you can make it interesting. If he strikes here, you can force Kyle Gertzen to mark in the 10th frame to win, because a strike here for Andy, I believe, still gives him a 237 maximum. Wow, he gets a 10 out in a hurry, so yeah, that gives him a 237 maximum. If Kyle Gertzen were to go 9 missed, that would be 235. So Kyle still has to mark in the 10th frame,
yeah, that was Andy,
to assure himself of the title.
Definitely his best shot of the match, and I think he likes that lane, though. I mean, he's had better luck on that lane than the right.
So Scott Stoltz here, well, he can still put a little pressure on Sukup for second place as well, but it's going to take striking out in the 10th and a mistake out of Sukup for Scott Stoltz to get out of third position here. A good shot and another blower 7-pin on that right lane.
Yeah, we've got to see where that 5-pin went, if it went in front of the 7 or behind it. But
oh, it planted a flag in the flat gutter in front of the 7-pin. Watch the replay here, Joey, and that just
right
sits
in front
right
of
there.
It. Right in front of it, yeah. And then
planted a flag and said, "I claim this territory for the 5-pin." Well, third place today for Scott Stoltz, regardless if he makes this spare or not. A good day for Scott, and he stayed clean for his 10 frames on TV.
Definitely stayed clean, but we know Scotty's not happy with that.
But the long comeback of Scott Stoltz continues with switching feet and changing his physical game, and he's still. We'll talk to him after we're done here, but he's still got to be feeling good about how the day went overall.
Well, I'm sure he is, and he's had 8 Milwaukee City titles, some 7 ABT titles. I mean, he's had successes.
Yeah.
But I mean, bowlers are never really, let's say, happy with where their game is. Even after a tournament win, there's always going to be some room for improvement.
Yeah, he should be a first ballot GMBA Hall of Famer when he's old enough to be eligible for the Hall of Fame.
I would hope so.
That should be a no-doubter. If he doesn't get in, that would be, I'd say, a personal injustice to Scott. Oh, here it is. Kyle Gertzen needs any mark to shut the door on Andy Sukup and take home this action heating and cooling and plumbing shootout title. Any open frame, and Andy Sukup can step up in the 10th frame, strike out, and steal this title away from Gertzen. You have a 10-pin last frame in the 9th frame. Little left to target, and he gets a big break there to take the 8-pin out.
Yeah, we don't see that too often from Kyle, but it was either speed-induced or just didn't get his hand around it enough.
Yeah, it just didn't look like it wanted to rev real hard at the end of the lane. Tough to tell when you got a 450 rev rate, but yeah, it was chugging down the oil line and just didn't want to turn over. So sometimes you get your hand in a little bit different position coming out of the ball. It comes out a little bit flat and it doesn't respond the same way to friction. Spare gets him the title, no doubt on it, and doesn't even. Well, he needs 1 pin to lock it up. I think Kyle's got 1 pin left in him here.
I would think so. Or a messenger strike, one or the other.
Yeah, pardon me, 2 pins here. We get him to 238. So I think he's got that no problem as he waits for his ball to come back. And that's a good thing. Same pre-shot routine every shot, no matter what's on the line, whether it's the first shot of the game or to lock up a championship. Good pre-shot routine. You talk to anybody on the PBA Tour, and they talk about how important going through the same routine every time helps them focus and concentrate. And that doesn't matter right now. At the 3-4-6, the championship goes to Kyle Gertzen and $500. on top. Also took home $25 in High Five Gear cash as well. Nice gift certificate for High Five Gear. Get himself a High Five Gear jersey or any other accessories with that cash.
Bob cleaning up that split Kyle left, and he didn't want to see that split again because the previous frame he had that on the same lane.
Yeah, Bob going to be taking home 4th place money here today, but still a good day for him. He wasn't sure he was even going to be able to bowl until about 3 hours before the tournament started, and that's not the way he wanted to finish either. when it goes bad, it really goes bad sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's going to be 5 potential opens for Bob, and considering the way he was striking for a while, you'd kind of surprise him. But
5 opens, 4 strikes, and 1 spare. That's not the usual game we see out of a lot of these players. Well, once again, a $100 bonus from EBC Productions if Bob were to happen to make the 7-10 split. He's going to try to bounce it out.
Pretty good attempt. Got the pin and ball to both go behind the 7.
But that's going to take 4th place for Bob Nowacek today with that 170 game. Andy Sukup needs a mark. Actually, yeah, he needs a mark to lock up 2nd place. Open frame would let Scott Stoltz sneak into 2nd. And with that $125 difference between 2nd and 3rd, and that's left the target. And lucky to leave.
Yeah, that was his first errant shot. He had all 9s and strikes going into that, and possibly got a little firm. And again, he's the only one on that side of the lane. Might be a little bit of oil carry down. Could be carry down from the right-handers throwing at some spares.
Well, he's got to make the spare to stay in 2nd place. See, he moves a little farther left on the approach. He likes to throw his spares pretty straight. So he'll take the lane out of play. Polyester ball, nice and straight at it. Covers it up. And now just the ball down the middle. Locks up 2nd place. And a little chatter going on in the crowd right now. You see our good friend Matt Duty walking in. Apparently there's some wagering going on back there. And well, there's been a serious amount of money wagered on whether or not Andy Sukup strikes on this ball. Lots of buzz going on in the crowd. Andy takes a little time, gets it off his hand, and gets a 7 out.
Just gets it out. So
Hope he gets a little cut of that money from Matt Duty betting on him there, but not that wagering is legal outside of the sport of bowling.
But
But
friendly wagering.
we're going to come back, talk to the bowlers shortly after this quick break. Once again, your champion this year, the 2015 Action Heating Shootout, Kyle Gertzen. Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com. And let's bring in our champion, first-time champion here for the Action Heating and Cooling Shootout, Kyle Gertzen. And yeah, Kyle, crowd behind you today, and that pocket 7-10 early didn't seem to rattle you too much because you just came back and fired off the next 7. What was the key to just staying calm out there?
Well, I came a little light, so I was like, I'll move one right, and ended up crushing everyone since then. So I was happy.
Absolutely. I think the crowd here is going to be pretty happy when you get this first place money because there's a few people pointing that you're buying the first round. How much money are we giving them today, Kerry?
500 smackaroonies. Nice bowling.
Hey, you know what? That's more than your dad's won in all the tournaments he's bowled here with us. So, so you got him beat in one tournament. Now you got to buy him around. Congratulations. Nice bowling. And Kerry, once again, we mentioned Toys for Tots coming up. You got the big tournament here. December 5th and 6th is the big weekend. And if they can't make it December 5th and 6th, there's plenty of places that people can give for Toys for Tots.
That's right. You can pretty much all over the city. If you'd like to donate money and or a toy, obviously our Marines will go out and purchase toys for those kids. Get them in by the 18th of December. That way the kids will get their toys this year by the 25th.
Yeah. So once again, Toys for Tots. Want to thank the Marine Corps Reserves for everything they do with that. Want to thank Carrie here for all the support. Our friends Joe and Dana Petkus at Action Heating and Cooling for everything they do for us. Next tournament coming up, it's coming up from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. 2015 Wisconsin Women's Open. There'll be some great women bowling there. A few women we saw today in this tournament: Kim Kenny, Rachel Shallow. I'm sure we'll see some of them on the TV finals as well.
That's right. Maybe another 4 or 5 more would be great.
So we'll be back with that show from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. For my friend Kerry Catania here at Motion Plus Lanes, for Joe Serrar back at Bowlers Pro Shop, I'm Phil Brilo. Parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life, and we'll see you on the next show from Classic Lanes in Greenfield.